So far we have implemented some framework, and we'll see just what we have done so far, and we'll review that, and then we'll proceed further. Okay. So as a first step, we created project, and we have installed all the required packages. And then step two, we created all the folder structure, which contains page objects, test cases, utilities, test data, and so on. And after that, we have automated a very basic test case, which is login test. And after that, we have added capturing the screenshot and reading common values from INI file, adding logs to the test case, and we have run the test case on desired browser. And then we have generated HTML report, and also we have seen yesterday, so how we can automate the data driven test case, right? So with this, we have done implementation of the framework, right? So now we'll see how we can automate a few more test cases. So far, we have done all these things for one test case, and we have already have all the reusable components now. So we need to just reuse them in for every test case, right? So from the second test case, we no need to do all these things again and again. So we already done the framework, and on top of this existing framework, we can try to automate a new test cases. So if you join in any company, if already there is some framework, you need to just automate the new test cases. You don't need to implement any framework from the scratch. But if you don't have any framework, then you need to start from the beginning. Now let us see step 10, so adding new test cases. So here I'm going to show you two test cases. One is add a new customer. We have one more test case, guys. Add a new customer, and also search customer. Search customer by using email ID and also name. So there are two test cases will come. Search customer by email ID, and the other test case search customer by name. So these are the three test cases we are going to see now. Let me show you. So if you don't have any framework, your framework is already there in your company, then your job will start here. So they will assign some test cases to you and ask you to automate the new test cases on existing framework. All right, so what you have to do is, as soon as you got some test cases for automation, and before itself, we need to understand what the framework they already created. So that's very, very important, because you need to know where exactly you need to create test cases files, utility files, and what are the reusable components they have created. All these things you need to understand before automating the new test cases. And if you yourself created your framework, you will know everything. But if somebody has created the framework, then you don't know exactly what they have done in the framework. So you need to go to each and every folder structure and what the files they have created, where they have kept, and how they have generated the reports. You need to aware of all these things, and need to spend some time on understanding the existing framework. So that is another challenging thing. And also you will have some documentation on the framework. So they will provide you some documentation, and which contains all the pictures, flows, files, everything. So by reading the document, and you can easily understand the framework, existing framework. Now, so once you have understood the framework, then you will need to review your test cases. So whatever test cases given to you for automation, you need to go through the test cases. And before starting automation, need to do some manual flows. So once you have a test cases in your hand, you need to just do some manual flows in your application, and then you will know exactly what are the elements you need to interact with, how many pages are there for that particular test case, and is there any common pages are there for multiple test cases. You will know all these things before automating the test case, and then you need to start automating the new test cases. Before that, you need to do all these things groundwork, right? So let's go to our application, NOP Commerce. And in this application, we have done login, the complete test case we have done on login, and then we will see few more test cases. Hold on, I think it is slow. Just a moment, I think it is slow. Yeah. Okay, so now we got the application. So we already done the login. So just let me do the login, and make sure every test case is independent. So there should not be any dependency on other test cases. And if you want to execute the specific test case, you should be able to execute from the beginning. So click on the login. Okay, so once you log into website, you will get the dashboard page. So here, this is our flow, automation testing flow. So first we need to click on this customer option. So this is a main menu, customer main option, and this is a customer's sub menu option. So this is main menu, and this we can say sub menu option. Click on the customers, and these are the two elements which we need to locate. And after that, and in this page we are not going to do anything, so we can directly go and click on add new button. So this is a third element. Click on add new, and once you click on add new, then you will get this customer info form. So in this form we need to locate all these elements, including email, password, first name, every element we need to locate. So we need to write the locators for every element, and then we need to create one page object class as a first step. When you get automation test cases, first step you need to create a page object class. And to create the page object class, we need to know what are the elements we have and what are the pages which we need to interact. So customer is submenu. We have click on add new button, and these are the elements. So we can keep all these elements in one page object class. And after filling all these details, when I click on save, we will get some message here, customer is added successfully, and that message we need to validate. Okay, and here we need to also do few things. So here email ID is always unique, so we cannot give the same email ID for every customer. So here the something new which we need to learn, how to generate the random test data, which is very important entry question. So sometimes the test data will be two types. One is static data, other one is dynamic data. So static data means we need to prepare before itself. We'll create one Excel file, we can hard code the data. So most of them usernames and logins, we can create a data, we can hard code it before itself. But sometimes some data we need to generate randomly at runtime. And for example, let's say here email ID. So every time when you create the new customer, I need to provide a different email ID. And the same email ID, I cannot use it for every customer. And if I hard code this email ID in your automation test case, every time when you run your test case, it will try to take the same email ID, and this will fail. Your test case will fail because the email ID will be assigned to the some other customer. So the same email ID if I use for another customer, it will fail. So when I run your test case, every time through your automation script, you have to generate a new email ID. So that's one more important thing. Almost every framework, every automation test cases, most of the situations you will find this situation, like how we can generate the random data. So I will show you how we can do this. And rest of them are as usual, same password, first name, last name. We can select the date of birth, and here we can directly use send keys method because it is allowing send keys method, or else we need to click on this date picker, and we need to again click on these items and we need to select the date picker. And if your box is accepting send keys method directly, don't go for date picker. Unnecessarily it will complicate your automation script. If your text box is not allowing, then go for date picker control. Otherwise don't go with this. Okay, and then rest of the things are same. And customer roles, we have multiple options here. This is not a drop down, guys. This is a different kind of element. Okay, so we need to handle this in different way. So I'll show you this also, and the rest of the elements are exactly the same. So after providing these values, we need to click on the save button. Then here there is a message will appear, customer is added successfully. So we need to verify that message. Okay, this is end-to-end test case. Now we'll see how we can automate this. So we need to start from the login itself. So login page elements are already there because we already done the login test. So page object class is already there for login. So for the login page, we no need to create the page elements once again, not required. But login page elements we need for this test case. Elements we no need to identify again because the elements already identified in the login page.py. But those elements we need. So we reuse the login page in our add customer test case also, because We need to start from the login itself. All right, so for adding customer, the first thing is we need to create a page object class. So let's do that. So here, right, and this will take a lot of time, guys. If you write each and every step manually, it takes some time. So I already have some scripts here. So I will just copy them and I'll go through each and every step and I'll make you understand clearly. Okay. So let's go to the page object. This is the actual job you guys will do once you joined in your project. If framework is already exist. Okay. So first you need to review the test case, understand the flow, and identify what are the pages elements are present in your web page, and then start automating. So first we need to go to page object package, where you will see all the page object classes for your application. On the same package, you need to create a page object class. Now let me just right click on page objects and then create a new Python file, and I will name it as add customer page and .py, so which is a Python file, and this is a page object class. So let me just copy my page object class code, and here, so here if you have a huge number of elements, and your page object class will appear very huge. Okay, so that also we need to take care. So for every element we need to write a locator and action method. So that is there in page object model pattern. Now you can see here, this bracket is optional for the class, not much required. So here, so add customer. So I'm just creating a new class, and inside this, first I have created all the locators for whatever elements I want to interact with our web pages. So if you just notice here, and this is a customer main menu, customer sub menu. So these two elements we need to locate. After that, after clicking on the second customers menu, and I'll get add new button, and I need to also locate add new button, and after that all these elements I need to locate. So if you just go and see your page object class, so this is my first customers link. Most of the times I used XPath itself, and sometimes I used ID also, but most of the times I use XPath. Right, so here the first two, this is my, and when you give the naming or names also for the variables, you need to follow certain naming conventions. So by reading this variable itself, you have to know for which element you have created this locator, right? So if you see here, L and K is just a prefix which is representing a link, and TXT is it's representing some input box or text box, and LST which is representing a list item, and DRP representing a drop down, RD representing radio button, okay, and BTN is representing button. So when I create a variable and use this prefix, so that we will know that exactly what kind of element it is. That's the first thing. And then customers menu, customers underscore menu underscore XPath. And after completion of, after ending this variable, use what is exact locator you have used. Either this is XPath, or this is ID, or this is CSS selector, it can be name. You have to specify that within the variable itself. Right, so XPath I have used here. This is my XPath, so I say XPath. So for these two links, customer main menu, customer sub menu. If I see here application, you can find two things: customer main menu, customer sub menu. For these two, I created two variables, and in the both the cases, I have copied XPath for those two elements and put it here, and then add new button. And if you click on this add new button, just right click and inspect this element, you will get XPath. And BTN add new underscore XPath, and this is XPath of add new button. And once you click on this add new button, then you will see all the fields in the customer details form. Now we need to locate all these fields one after another. So from here it starts. So here TXT email XPath and TXT password XPath, text customer roles, and here customer roles is very important. Here it is, customer roles, and this is basically not a drop down. Okay, so here this is a text box. First of all, this is a text box, but when you click on the text box, there are some options are populating, and these are all list items. So if I just inspect these elements, right? And then you will know that exactly. So here, see this, and if I just try to inspect one of these elements, right? If I expand this, you will see this. This is a list box is basically there, and select customer role IDs. Let me just select few more and then inspect this element. So now we can see here. Let's try to inspect properly. Okay, so here it is started, and this is the list box, and inside this there are multiple LIs are there. This is the first LI, two selected here, and this is registered, and second one is form moderator. And if we, it is a normal drop down box, you will see the select tag. So that's the only thing you will you need to notice. So how we will know, how we will recognize whether it is a drop down or normal list box or some other element? We need to check select class is, select tag is there or not in the HTML. So as soon as you selected this, inspect this, you will see select tag in HTML. But here we don't see the select tag. So we see something different. If I so inspect this element, you will see something different, like a div tag inside this, UL tag inside this. We have a multiple LI tags. So currently I have selected only two. So two are displayed. And if I have selected more, and those things also will be displayed like this. Now you can see LI1, LI2, 3 and 4. And each LI, if I expand, you can see registered, and you can see form moderators, you can see vendors, and you can also delete if you don't want anything like this. Okay, so this is not a drop down. That's the thing we need to understand. If it is a drop down, you will see the select tag in your HTML. Okay, so here the text box itself I have located along with this, and whatever items I'm adding here, each item is located. So those locators you can find it here itself. So if I just find here, and this is a registered, and this is a forum moderators. So you can just go here and see this. So this is my text box, and list item administrator, list item register, list item guest and vendors. Okay, just a moment. All right. So this is a actual text box, customer roles text box, and these four are rows. Total 3, 4. So these four are the roles of the customer, and everything I have found list item. So list item and is a partial XPath. Contains the text is register, contains the text is get, contains text is vendor. So this XPath I have generated manually and I have written here. And then this is drop down manager vendor. Vendor, basically we have vendor element here. If I just notice, and here somewhere we can see vendor. Yeah, here is, this is the drop down. See that this is the drop down. We can select one value at a time. And if I just notice this element, you can find select tag here. And if it is find select tag, that means it is a drop down. And then, and here drop down element, and the RD radio button, male gender ID, female gender, and again first name, last name, date of birth, company name, admin content, and finally save button. And here I not created in proper order. If you want to create, you can uh, prepare everything in proper order. So you can just say email, password, first name and last name, right? Email, password, first name and last name. First name, last name and gender. So I'll add in the same direction, first name, last name, email and password. So email and password, I think we already added. Then first name and last name. First name and last name, here I created. I'll just remove from here. I'll keep it here. So order is not important. You can write locators in whichever order you want. First name, last name, and then gender. So where is our gender? So here it is. Remove from here. I'll put it here. So now it is in exact order. Okay, so done. So after that, there is a date of birth. After gender, date of birth. So let me remove from here, and date of birth, and then company name. Company name, remove from here. After date of birth, company name. All right, so admin content, the last one. So I can keep it like this. Fine. So here just one or two check boxes. I have just ignored this, but you can still select that. Fine. So these are the locators I have created for all the elements, whatever elements I want to interact with. So these are all different locators I created for every element. So whichever element I want to interact, so I need to first create all the locators for those elements. And then for every element, we need to write an action method. Before that, we need to create one constructor. And this constructor will get the driver from the actual test case and will initiate the local driver. And now this driver belongs to the class. So we have to access the driver by using self keyword. All right, so now we need to start from the beginning. So these method names are user defined. We can give any name, but while reading the name of this method, you need to know exactly what this method will perform. Okay, so by reading this, let's say click on customers menu. By reading this method, you will know exactly what this method will do. So it will perform click on customers menu, click on customers menu item. It's clearly saying, so we need to first click on the customer menu and then click on the customer menu item. And here click on add new, set email, set password, set customer roles. And here there are few more methods we have: set gender, set first name, last name, set DOP, set company name. So these methods should be very, very meaningful, so that from the test case, you have to call these methods. So then you have to provide the proper names to the methods. So now let us go through them. And this is the constructor. Click on customers menu. So this element self.driver.find element by XPath, and this is the element we already located here. So how we can access all these variables? By using self keyword, because all these variables are belong to our class. So here the locator command is self.driver.find element by XPath, self.link customers menu XPath. So this is the variable which you have created above. And once you locate it, then perform the click action. And then same thing for menu item also, self.driver.find element by XPath. And depends upon the locator type, you have to use method here. Okay, self.link customers menu item XPath dot click. So once you click on this two, then you will get the add new button. And then we have to call this method. Click on add new. So self.driver find element by XPath, self.button add new XPath dot click. So this is again the locator variable. And once you click on this add new button, then the form will be displayed. And here set email method will get the email from the actual test case and locate this element, pass that email, same password. And set customer roles. So here set customer roles, we need to get the role from the actual test case, right? And once we get that role, so here there are some restrictions are there. So what are the restrictions while selecting the user role is? So here the user can be registered user, or he can be guest, only one. So guest cannot be registered user. So once you register, you cannot be the guest. So what is guest means? He doesn't have any account. He is called as a guest. So what is register means? He is having some account. So a user can be a registered user or a guest user, but both not. So in this customer page, you cannot select guest as well as register. If I just click on add new button, it will give you an error at the time of adding a customer. So register by default is there, and here we should not select the guest again. And these two combinations are not allowed. Why? Because a user, a customer role cannot be both. Either the role can be either register or role can be a guest, but cannot be both. Okay, so these things we need to select. Suppose if you want to still add guest, we need to delete the register role. Okay, so here what I'm saying is I'm just clicking on the text box as a first statement. First I need to click on this text box, then I will get these options. So this is a click action I'm performing, and after waiting for 3 seconds, and if this role is registered, and then go and locate the register element and save that element in a variable. I'm not selecting that variable. If the role is registered, then capture this element and save that into variable self.list item. Suppose elif, if the role is administrator, get the administrator list item and save that in a variable. And the same variable, list item is a variable which we need to additionally create, right? So similarly, if the role is equal to guest, then what I have to do is we have to remove the register, because register is already there. By default, register will be there here, right? If you want to add guest here, then we have to remove the register, then add guest here. So same thing I have done. If the role is guest, first identify the register element which is already there in the already selected in the text box and click on this. So how we can delete this? There is a small cross button is there. We just click on this, it will delete automatically. Okay. So if your role is a guest, then delete that one, existing one, and then capture the guest item and save this. But we are not selecting, we are saving that element in a variables. And if the role is registered, then capture the register element, save it. And if the role is vendor, same thing. And if none of them is not selected, by default one find XPath self list item guest is selected. Default value is guest is selected. And wait for some time. And finally here we have to select one of this item from the text box. One of the customer role we have to select. So we can directly do like this. When I say self dot list item means, so depends upon the customer role, we have executed only one statement among all if else conditions. So self dot list item dot, we have to actually do this operation like this, click action. But here this click action is not working on this elements, on the list items. So we can try with another way is, we can do this by using execute script method. So by using this method, we can execute JavaScript statements. Sometimes if click is not working on any other elements, any of the elements, so what you have to do is use this method, driver.execute script, and pass this argument, comma, second argument is your element. On whichever element you want to perform click action, pass that element here as a second argument. So this is a basically JavaScript statement. So this command will execute JavaScript internally and it will perform the click action on the element. And this is the alternative of this one. But in this case, this is not working on this application, especially this element. So I have used alternative approach. So this is a set customer roles. Suppose if you want to select multiple roles. So here you can also select multiple roles like this, right? In that case, what you have to do is we have to call the same method twice. 2 times we need to call. First time we need to pass one role, second time we need to pass another role. Okay. And then set manager of vendor. And here we will get the value, vendor value. This is a drop down. So here vendor 1 and vendor 2. So whichever vendor value we will get from the test case, we'll get that value as an argument. And first select the drop down into this variable, and then use select by visible text and pass the value, which will select the value from the drop down, and set gender. And here we can select only one gender, male or female. So that we need to pass through test case, whether we need to select male or female. So this particular method set gender will get the gender from the test case. And if it is a male, go and select the male. And if else if it is a female, and go select the female. If I don't pass anything other than this, then I can go and select the female by default or male default. Okay, this is another method I created for selecting the gender. And set first name. We'll pass the first name and locate this element, pass the first name. And last name, same DOB, and we'll get the DOB, identify the text box and pass the date of birth. Set company name, admin content, click on the save. So whatever locators I'm referring here, these locators variables already created in the class. Okay. So first thing we need to locate all the things, and these variables we have to use to write your action methods. So this is overall page object class for adding new test case. So once you created this page object class, so this will take a lot of time, guys, especially writing these locators is very huge task and tedious task also sometimes, because we need to write XPath very carefully. Sometimes it may identify, sometimes may not identify the elements. Okay, so we need to try all the different cases. So this takes some time. We cannot finish 1 or 5 or 10 minutes. So take your own time and try to finish the page object classes. Once your page object class is done, then you can write automation test case very, very easily. So only challenging job is creating the page object class, because for every element we need to write the action methods also. So that's another thing which we need to put some effort. All right. So page object class is created, and the next step is we need to create our test case. So directly go to your test cases section and go to test cases, and here I'll give one test case file name. Right click on test cases, new Python file. So always test cases names as per the PyTest format, it should start with the test. Okay, test underscore add customer. Okay, so I've just created side by side. So this is my page object class. Now I'm going to create my test case by using this page object class. All right, so now we'll see how we can write our test case by using page object class. So I already have my test case. Let me just copy here and save it. So I'll just go through this step by step. Just try to understand this. For now, I'm just closing this. This is my whole test case, complete test case. So let's start. So when I creating your test case, so we already done a lot of work on the framework previously, right? So we have to reuse all the components. So to add a new customer, where we have to start, we need to start from the login itself, right? And we need to launch my browser. We need to provide the username and password. Then we need to do the add customer flow. So we need to create some common variable, a base URL, username and password, and logger. So base URL. So from where we can get the base URL? From the configuration file. So read. So in the login test case, we already copied some piece of code. Same thing we can get it from here. See this. So these are the common values we need. Not login page, login test case. Go to test login and just go below. So these things we require for this test case also, adding new customer also, right? So we have to just copy this as it is. So this will read, this will get the application URL, ename, password dynamically from the INI file. So where we have created that? Under configuration, config.ini. So from here it will get it, right? So from here we need to capture. So read config.get application URL, read config.get user email, read config.get password. So base URL, username and password, we got it. And to generate the log files, we need to create the variable of loggen.loggen. And this is a logger variable we created. All right. So now, so anyway, we have a conf test. This conf test is applicable for all the test modules. Whatever test cases we created inside, this conf test is applicable for everywhere. In the conf test, I created one method called setup method, right? So that we need to refer. Otherwise, it will not execute. So as soon as I created my add customer method, I'm referring the setup method. So that conf-test.py, this method will start execution. Initiating the browser, all these things will done by this setup method, right? So test underscore add customer setup method, so that before this method, conf-test method will execute, conf-test picture method will execute. So every time I'm trying to send the logs, self.logger.info and test case ID mentioned here, because in the logs we can see the test case ID. By seeing the test case ID, we can recognize the statements or belongs to which test case that will be displayed in the log file. So we can easily recognize by seeing this test case ID. All right, so this setup, I'm just setup means here it will return the browser driver, and I'm saving the driver into this variable, class variable. And self.driver.get, I'm using this variable base URL here. So all these are class level variables, so that I can access only through self keyword. And then maximizing the window. So first we need to start from the login, right? So for login page, we already created the page object class called login page, right? So for that, what we have to do is we need to create a login page object class object called self.lp equal to login page is my page object class. And see this guys, this is add new customer class, add new customer test case, but still we are reusing the other page object class. So other than add customer page, actually here we have to use add customer page, but we need some element from the login page also. So we no need to write and no need to create the elements again and again. So we already have the page object class login page. So from there I can get the elements. So this is an actual page object class pattern. So I created login page object class object self.lp. So I'm calling those methods self.lp.set username, self.lp.set password, click on the login. So these steps and these methods I called from login page.py. So if I just go to login page.py, set username, set password, click login, because these three I need for adding new customer also. So done. So here login is successful till here. Now here we started add new customer test. So now we need to use page object class for add new customer. So add customer page object class we have to use. So let us open this and add customer test case. So this is my test case now, and we have here, right? So here, so add customer is my page object class. So add customer. So in that add test underscore add customer page. So this is my page object class, a module name. Inside this add customer is my class name. So to access all these methods from this page object class, I need to create an object for add customer. I need to create object for add customer. So go back to your test case and add customer, which will expect the driver. So I'm passing the driver and save that in the variable self.add customer. Now by using this variable object, I can access all the method from the add customer page. So I'm just calling those methods self.add customer, click on customers menu. Then automatically it will go and click here. So this will click here. Click on add customer menu. So this method will invoke when I call this method, and click on customers menu item. So then the second method will be called and it will perform the click action on the second menu item, and then click on add new. So this will call this method click add new, and it will perform the add new button. And then here we are providing all the customer information. So I'm just sending some log message. So now we need to just calling all these methods one after another. Set email, set password, set customer roles. We're just calling all these methods, and wherever we need to pass some arguments, we need to pass them. So if you just notice your test case here, and I'm closing page object class, and here add cust self.add cust dot, what is add cust is object of page object class. Set email and passing email self.email, and password customer roles I'm passing guest, manager of vendor, set gender, set first name, set last name, DOB, company name, admin content, click on save. So I'm calling all these methods from page object class. And here one more very important thing is, whenever you are passing the email, this should be given unique email ID for every customer. So if I hard code this email ID just like other data, so for every detail I'm hard coding here. Instead of hard coding this data, even if we email also hard coded here, then your test case will fail from the second round. Only one time your test case will pass, and from the second round onwards, your test case will fail. Why? Because it will take the same email ID for every customer, right? So now we need to generate a random email ID. So how we can generate random email ID, and how we can pass it every time. So to generate the random data in Python, we have created one user defined function below. So after completion of the test case, you can just create it below somewhere. And this is a user defined function which will generate some random data to you, which will return some random data. So random generator, this is a name method I can given. Size equal to 8. That means it will generate 8 characters in a string. And chars equal to string dot ASCII lowercase. And if you want uppercase letters, you can say uppercase, ASCII underscore uppercase. Or if you want to have lowercase, you can say ASCII underscore lowercase plus string dot digits. And this is this one. So this is string.ASCII characters plus string.this all one thing. And return join random choice of chars for x in range. So this is basically looping statements. So for x in range size, so what is size here? 8. So it will take 8 here for x in range. So first of x value is 1, then it will generate one character, then it will take a 2, then it will generate another character, then 3, 4, 5, 6. So randomly it will generate the characters. So random is a predefined package in Python. So in this, it will take different characters from A to Z. Randomly it will choose a character. But finally, just have this method, remember, or you can just write down this method somewhere. And even if you're not able to understand this method, no problem. So you can just create this method as it is. And the only thing is we need to return that value. So whenever I call this method, this will return you a random string which contains 8 characters randomly. Every time it will give you a new character. Okay. So this particular method I'm calling here random generator, which will give you 8 characters string. But that is not an email ID. It is just giving 8 character string. And we need to pass a proper email format. Otherwise, it will not allow you. So if I just provide something like this, it will not allow you. We have to give some email format like this. Then only it will allow you. So when I pass here, when I call random generator, which will return you the string 8 character string. Now here I am concatenated at the rate gmail.com. Now the whole thing together will become one email ID or one valid email ID. So every time when you run your test case, this will generate a new random string and it will become a new email ID. So that email ID I'm passing here. So this is the thing we need to remember sometimes. How we can generate the test data means we can write our own user defined function, and wherever you need some data, random data, we can just call this method. And even we don't need to pass any arguments here. Okay, so this is how we need to create. So this is just a function, Python function. So we have passed all the data, click on the save. Now validation will start. So I'm just sending some logger info, self.logger.info, saving customer info, and add customer validation started. So here the validation, how we can validate. So here after adding all this data, here you will get some message called customer added successfully. So here self.driver.find element by tag name of body.text. So I have captured this text which is present on at the top of this page like this. So self.driver.find element by tag name body. So tag name, I say body means which will capture everything which is displayed on the page. And dot text means everything whatever displayed on the page which will capture in the form of text and saving in that into self.message. Now here I'm verifying. I'm just printing the message here, but I need to do validation. If customer has been successfully in self.message, that means if this message is present inside the self.message, then I set true equal to true. Make my test case pass, and I'm sending the log message to the logger. Add customer test is passed. Suppose if the customer has been added successfully is not in this particular message, and then I'm capturing the screenshot and sending the log message and then making it fail. So 3 things are simultaneously will happen. So in the screenshot, I'm capturing the screenshot. I have given name of the screenshot is test underscore card customer.scr. SCR representing some screen. So with this screenshot name, the screenshot will be saved. And after completion of validation, closing my driver and sending the message to the log, ending homepage title test. He's ending not homepage title test, it is add customer test. Okay, so this is how we need to automate the test case. So what we have done, we created one page object class, then we have created our test case. Okay, so if the framework is already there in your company, you have to do only these 2 things: create the page object class, automate the test case. Okay, so now let us run and execute. And how to run our test case, from where we have to run, we don't run the page object class. And one more thing, in this test case, how many page object classes I have referred? 2 page object classes I have referred: login page object class
and add customer page object class. So this is the reusability feature. So once we located the elements, we can use this login page elements in multiple test cases. All right. So go to the terminal, click on the terminal. Now I'm running my test case. So to run the test case, so we need to now generate the report also, right? So let me just give the command like this. So pytest, see this command, how am I giving? Pytest -s-v. And if you want to generate the report, you can generate -HTML equal to report.html test cases. And in the test cases, this is my test case. Test add customer.py -- browser. I'm passing my Chrome browser. So then my test case will execute on Chrome browser. Right. So suppose if you want to execute other test cases, even login and login DDT test cases also, if you want to execute, don't specify the name of the test. Okay, just specify only folder test cases. Then automatically all the test cases will be executed one after another. Okay. So for now, I'm just saying test case. So test case is / test underscore add customer. I'm saying add customer. Just a second. So let me just write it once again, guys. Something went wrong. Clear this, then paste over here. So this is my command. So let's execute and see how it is going to work. So add new customer. So collected one item. So it is starting from login. So it will maximize the page. It will go very faster. So please notice all the elements, how it is going to enter the values. So first starting from login. So successful login. Now you can see it is click on the customer's main menu, sub menu. Now then click on add new button. Now you can see it is entering all the data. So it should select guest here. So if you want to select guest, register is removed. Now it is selecting the guest option. Now entering all the data, successfully done. So my test cases got passed. Okay, so it's very fast. So this is how we need to automate the test case and run the test case. Here I just printed some values every time, and here a message I printed. Okay, so you can just remove these values. Okay, so this is how we need to generate the data. So this is how we need to pass the data to the test case, and we can automate the test case. This is add new customer test case. All right, so now we'll see one more test case. And now if I run this test case again and again, every time it will generate the random data and then execution will happen. So one more time I'll run this. Observe this. So you will not see any issues because every time email will be generated. So first name, last name, these things can be same for multiple customers, so no problem. But email only, the unique one. Okay, so done. So you can run the same test case any number of times, so it will pass. All right, so this is one test case we created. So now let's move on to the another test case. Search customers. So in the same test case, let me close this. Just a moment. Let's open the page NMOP Commerce. NMOP Commerce admin demo. Okay, so let's log into the test. First, again, even if you want to search for the customers, first we need to read the test case and do the flow manually. And username, we need to start from the login itself. Click on the login. Now successfully logged in. So here, how to search the existing customer? By email ID, by name. So first let's start with the email. So go to the customers menu and sub menu, and then you will see the search page. Okay. So here I want to search a customer by using email ID. So let's say take one existing email ID and put in the email address and just click on the search. After doing this, we need to check this email ID is present inside the table or not. So if this email ID is present inside the table, that means your search with the email ID is successful. That's the one thing. Now search with the name. Suppose when I say Victoria, instead of email ID, I'll say only first name. Okay, or we can also say last name. This is my last name. Then click on search, and this will also give you the record in the table. If you find this record in the table, that means your search is successful. And we need to pass the existing email ID. All right, so now we'll see how we can do this. So again, we need to create a page object classes. So if I just go and start with the login page, so login page elements we already there, and we no need to locate these elements. So in the login page .java, we are login page page object class, we already located these elements. So we don't bother about login page. And also these two elements also part of add customer page object class. So we don't need to bother about these two. The only thing is we need to locate these elements, email address and search button, and the table. In the table also we need to locate these elements. So these are the new elements which we need to add into search customer page object class. Now let us create page object class for search customer. And for search customer email ID, first name, for both the test cases, I'll create only one page object class. So let's go to PyCharm, and under page objects, I'm creating a new Python file. I will name it as search customer page. Search customer page, and it's a Python file. And here I already have page object class. I'm just copying this. All right, so now let us see how it is going to work. So in the search customer is basically a class, and I have located all the elements, whatever I need, and search email ID, search first name, last name. So the only three elements we need. So here search can be done by using email address, first name and last name. So three elements I have located by using ID. So txt email ID, txt first name ID, txt last name ID, and search button. So we need to click on the search. So here I'll say search ID, search customer. So this is a button, basically BTN button. And after locating these things, then we'll come to the table part. So which is very, very important here. And here I have a table is basically is a grid table. Okay. And if I just locate this element, inspect, you can find the table tag. You can just go up. This is my table tag. So which is representing the whole table. So which is representing the whole table. Inside this TD tag, inside this, there are one TR currently we have in my page. So it is saying that. Just a moment. So this is my table. I think it is not. Yeah, this is the table. So we have multiple tables in the page. You need to carefully look at this. Okay, table. And inside the table, we have a TH. Inside this one TR, this is basically header part. And inside the T body, see this? When I'm highlighting each and every TR, it is representing the table row. Right. So now, as soon as you do the search, you will find just one or two records in the table. So we need to just check that record is present in the table or not. So here I have captured the complete table XPath and put that into variable table search results XPath. So role equal to grid. So this particular XPath will capture the complete table along with the results in this variable. And this is search results, not exactly the table. So here, let me just write this locator and see what exactly it is returning for us. Control F, and or you can also take use of crow path. Right, so this is my table, and I'll put in crow path here, relative XPath, and press enter. And it is, see this, it is pointing to the whole table. It is highlighting with the green dots. You can see here. This is completely grid element. And now see this table XPath. And what is the difference between these two? This is a table XPath. And one element is matching, it is saying. Which element is matching? Let us cross check. Customers grid. ID is a customers grid. Let us see here. So role equal to grid, and let's take this in. I think inner. I think this is inner grid. Table hover. Just a second. Okay, so this is also highlighting the table, guys. A small difference is there. So this is search results XPath I captured, and here table XPath I captured. Table search results XPath is different. Okay, we'll see this later. So for now, this is a table XPath and table rows XPath, table rows underscore XPath. So here inside this table, T body inside the TR. And this is a TR. There are multiple TRs are there, but here I say TR means this is pointing to multiple table rows. So if I just copy this and put it in the crow path, and you will know that. You can see it is pointing to all the rows in a table. So now I am saving that in a variable. So this contains a multiple rows, multiple values. And this is a columns XPath. So inside the table, inside the T body, inside the TR, TD. So which will pointing to all the columns. Let's go back and put it here. So it is pointing to columns also, every column in every row, and which will give you columns, table columns path, and this is a table rows path. So this is a constructor I created. So these are the only elements we need to do the validations. And this is a constructor, and first method increment set email. We'll get the email ID from the test case, and before passing the email ID into this text box, first clear it, and then pass the email ID. So here I'll say same thing, self.driver.find element by ID dot clear, and then I'm passing the value. So I'm getting this email ID from test case, and here I'm locating this email ID, and then I'm passing the email ID. And make sure here we have to pass existing record, existing email ID, not a new email ID. Okay, so we no need to generate the random email here. We have to capture one or two emails from the table before running the test case and specify that email, or create one email ID account, email ID permanently, and you can use same email ID for searching the data or elements. Now set first name, set last name. So in the set first name, we'll get the first name element, clear that field, provide that first name and last name, and click on the search. And these are the action methods. And then get row number, get a number of rows in a table, get number of columns. So here I additionally I created two methods. And when I call get number of rows method, it will go and find all the rows, and length method will find how many rows we have, and that value will be written by this command, get number of rows method. And get number of columns, and this internal it will point all the columns in a table and find the length, and then return the number of columns. So search customer by email. So these are the two additional methods I created in the page object class, guys. So actually what these things will do is, so actual validations we will do in the test case. So from the test case, when I call this method search customer by email, when I pass the email ID, this method will return either true or false. If the record is present in the table, it will return true. If the record is not present in the table, it will return false. And same thing for a search customer by name. So for these two things, I will create two different test cases: search customer by email, search customer by name. For the first test case, we'll call this method. For the second test case, we'll call this method. So now we'll see what exactly this method will do. We'll pass email ID to this method from the actual test case. So I'll take one variable called flag. I'll make it as a false initial variable. So as soon as I found the record in the table, I'll make flag value is equal to true. Okay, then flag value still false. So here I have written one for loop. Take R value in range 1 comma self dot get number of rows plus 1. So here I'm counting the number of rows because I need to check the record in every row wherever exactly is present. So I'm starting from 1 and self dot get number of rows, which will give you the number of rows because we already created this method here. Get number of rows. Same method I'm calling here. Plus 1 because it will take till last row number. And if the condition is true, then it will come here. And self dot driver find element by XPath, the table XPath I'm giving. So table and the table dot in this table find element by XPath and give the XPath of the element. So row number and column number. So where exactly email is present? The email is present inside the second column. If you see the table, this is first column, second column. So second column we can hard code, but row value we need to keep on passing. So here I'm passing the row value as an argument from this loop and second column. So I'm getting the email ID and then check that the email ID, whatever I'm capturing email ID from the table, which is equal to our expected email ID, then make flag equal to true and then break. And what break will do, it will come out from this if condition as well as looping statement, and then flag value will be returned. So as soon as I found this email ID, then I'm making flag value is equal to true. Now I'm returning true. And after completion of this looping statement, it could not find the email ID which is exactly matching with our email ID. Still flag value will false and finally it will return false. Okay, so now we need to call these action methods from the actual test case. So this is for another test case, search customer by name. This is also doing the same thing. We'll pass the name instead of email, flag equal to false, and read the looping statement because we need to repeat every row. And also here we find the number of rows and get the XPath of the table. So table dot find element by XPath, and here also third column. So where is exactly name is present? In the third column. So we have to give the 3 hard coded, and every time the row number is passing here, and get the text value, that means a name. If the name is equal to whatever expected name we are passing, then flag equal to 2, break, then finally return the flag. So this is for searching customer by email, searching customer by name is a logic. So we need to call these action methods from the actual test case. So now page object class is done. So once it is done, we need to write our test case. Now go back to your project, and where you have to create your test case under test cases. So here we need to create the test case. Right, so my test case ID is test underscore search customer by email. Search customer by email Python file. Okay, so now I created a new file, test underscore search customer by email .py. So this is my test case. Now we need to use page object class. So let's have this code here. So now let me just go through this, and I imported all the page object classes, guys. So this is very, very important. So until unless you imported page object classes from this package, you cannot access any of these methods from this page object classes. And base URL, username, password, I got it. Logger object I created. And now test search customer by email. So test method I created, and in the conf.test setup method is there. So I need to make reuse of it. So I say setup here, and started search customer by email 004. This is my test case ID. And here setup method will give you the driver. I'm saving that into driver variable, and open the URL, maximize this window. And again, we have to start from login itself. So we need to create the page object class for login. So login page object class, we have to use. So we have created an object for login page. self.lp. Now by using this object, I need to call action method set username, set password, click login. So this will perform the login. So login page object class we used. Now another page object class also we have to use, because we need to click on customer main menu, sub menu. So those two elements are present inside the add customer page. So again we have to create an object of add customer page element, add customer page object class. So here I created. So self.add.click customer menu, click on customers menu item. So these two things I have done by using add customers page. And now search customers page we have to use. So here create search customer page object class, and search set email. I'm passing email ID, and then search click search. Wait for some time, and here search customer by email. I'm calling this method which is already created here. So this one, search customer by email. And what this will return? This will return true if the element is present, if the email is present in a table, and it returns false. It returns true if the element is present, if the element returns false if the element is not present. So go back, and I'm just calling that method by passing the email address, which will give you status true or false. If asset true equal to status, if the status equal to true, and then my assertion will pass, make my test case pass, or else fail, and then I'm closing my test case. So this is a test case, search customer by email. Okay, so let's execute this. So currently I'm passing the existing email ID, and here, and the same email ID is present in my table also, so it should pass. So let's run this test case. So page object class is ready, and test case is also ready. Now go to the terminal, and here we have to execute our test case. So let me just copy the code. Sorry, just a second. Right, so here my test case is test underscore search customer by email, search customer by email. Okay, by py. So this browser name is Chrome. So now let us execute. So collected one item. So now you can see how it is going to execute. So first start with the login part. So login. So customers main menu, click on the customers main menu, then click on the customers sub menu. Now it is provided the email ID. Now we got the data in the table. So it's not closed because I think I forgot to put the close command. So after completion of this, the test case, after completion of this, just close your driver. Okay, driver.close, then it will close your page. Self.driver close, and inside this method itself. All right, so this is our test case, guys. So you can see my test case got passed, and this is exactly the same test case for select the customer by using name. So let me just copy the same thing, same test case. I'm just copying again, search customer email, copy, and same test cases, and by name. Okay, so another test case created, and slightly we need to modify a few things. So here my test case ID I'll change, say 005, search customer by name, and this 005. Right, so here also I'll say search customer by name, and everything is same. We need to start from the login itself. Login will perform. So here starting search customer by name comment, and so add customer, click on the main menu, sub menu, and here same thing, search customer object itself we have to create, and instead of set email we have to call set name. So if we just go to page object class, set customer page, and if you just go above, apart from the set email, we also have set first name. So this is the method we have to call. So change this method, and name only we have to pass here. Okay, so only the name we have to pass. And here I will pass one name called Victoria. So existing name we have to pass. Okay, so this is my name. So first name. And do we have a last name in the page object class? Let's see here. Last name is also there. So let's call that method also. So we need to pass last name also along with the first name. And that is terraces. And then click on the search button, wait for 5 seconds. And here we will get the status. So which method we have to call? Previously we called search customer by email. So this time we have to call search customer by name. So this is the method we have to call. That's it. So now here we need to pass the complete name of the customer. So here we have passed, and it is searched the customer and displayed in the table. In the table, what we have to verify, the email ID is displayed or not, we need to verify. Sorry, not in email ID, the name is displayed properly or not, we need to verify. So search customer by name. So here we have to pass the complete name, a full name, and this name should be present in the table in the third column, right? So need to pass a name, and status will be either true or false. So this method will return status is true or false, and if the assertion true equal to status, then it will pass or else fail, and then finished. And this is a name, and this is a 005, and then finished and driver.close. So this is how we need to automate the test case. And for both the test cases, for search customer by email, search customer main, for both the test cases, I'm using same page object class. Okay, so now let us execute. Go to the terminal and then run this command. So my test case name is test underscore search customer by name. Search customer by name. Okay, so then py browser Chrome. So execute. Okay, so it's done. Email and password. Click on the login. And now click on customers menu item, sub item. Enter first name, last name. You can see the data is displayed on the table. And now it is passed. Right, so this is how we can automate the new test cases. You don't need to repeat all the things for every test case. Okay, we have done. So with this, we can automate new test cases, and rest of the test cases you guys can try later also. And here, so like export customer, XML, all the customers, selected customers, or you can also click on edit, and you can also do editing customer. You can modify the details of the customer. So these cases you can try later also. Okay, first practice complete framework and existing test cases, and once we have done, and then you can proceed further. Okay, so this is for assignment I'm just giving you to. You guys can try this rest of the things. All right, so with this we have done design and implementation of the framework, guys. Design and implementation part. But still we haven't reached execution part. Execution is a different thing. So in execution, grouping of test cases will come. If you want to execute specific group of, we can execute. We can run our test cases without using PyCharm also. We can run through command prompt, and then we can run our test cases into Jenkins. And then finally, we will maintain our test cases complete framework in one common place, which is called as a version control system. So till here, if I divide the entire framework in 3 categories, one is design and implementation, second thing is execution, third thing is a maintenance. So till here we have completed design and implementation of the framework, and the second phase is execution phase. So how many ways we can execute the test case, and third phase is the maintenance phase. There we will have Jenkins, GitHub, all these tools will come into the third part where we can maintain our code. Okay, so these things we will cover in the next session, And till now, whatever is completed, so please practice and complete your framework before coming to the next session. Okay, so next session will be completely execution part. And also I'm going to show you how we can work with the Jenkins tool, which is continuous integration tool, and also Git and GitHub project, Git and GitHub tools. In the next session, I will discuss very, very important topics, which is exactly what exactly happening in the real-time environment. Even though if you don't have any experience, even if you don't work on, even though if you're not worked on any company or any project, still you can manage with some experience. Even if you put 3 to 4 years of experience, still you can manage an interview, right? If you attend that session. So don't miss the next session, which is very, very important. I am going to discuss very, very crucial points, what exactly happening in the real-time projects and process related things. Okay. So that's all for today's session, guys. I'm just stopping here. If you have any queries, you can put me in the chat window.